Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is you've chosen to spend the next hour of your life with us on Out of Touch.
It's nice of them.
That's right, very nice of you to join us. Dustin Schutte is back with us today. Round of applause for that.
Whee!
Mitchell Page with us as well, as always. And it doesn't matter who I am. I'm just here to talk.
It always matters.
And
we told you you're a steady Eddie. Without you, this show doesn't go.
Somebody's got to be the steady Eddie, but that means I'm, as always, the least interesting person of us three. But that's fine, though. Welcome to week 3 of Out of Touch in 2024. And it's the first time all three of us have been together in 2024. Dustin has been on one of his long escapades where he travels some sort of part of the country and just gets up. He packed his bags. He left central Indiana and went down south because he hates the cold. And I guess I'll just let you pick it up from there, Dustin, because I'm sure you've had plenty of good adventures. I saw that you did some golfing. I'm sure Mitchell will be excited to hear that. And Dustin, welcome back.
Thank you. So there's some things I need to address, so this might get a little bit long-winded here, but I haven't been able to talk for a couple weeks, so just bear with me here. So number one, I did not call the hotline. I wanted to call the hotline because after the first episode, there was no mention of me. So what I wanted to say in my hotline was that I host a podcast with 2 other individuals, and my New Year's resolution is to be so important that when I'm not on the show, John mentions that I'm not on the show.
I didn't mention that you weren't with us?
You did not. You just dove right into the story.
I would have bet.
I could have been dead and buried and gone, and nobody would have known.
That's wild. I mean, I will pin that one up on the board of shame right there for me, because I'm usually pretty good about just acknowledging the obvious, which I don't know how good of a thing that is to have on my resume. But
the other thing was, so I take these trips, but they're not vacations. So anybody that says that Dustin's on vacation is a liar. I worked the entire time. And I don't know if you guys have ever had to spend a week with your family in an RV. It's a long ass time.
There's plenty of space, I'm sure, to get your own privacy.
Even though, what's that?
Plenty of space to get your own privacy, for sure.
I mean, there is like different rooms. It's just incredibly small, and you can hear everything. So it's not the best. So I was looking forward to coming back, even though we have this frozen hell. But I was excited because I did have some good news to tell Mitchell. So the very first outing of 2024 on the golf course, played at the University of Florida, the Mark Bostic, did not go well at all. Terrible.
Yeah.
Putting was
very good news.
3 days later, I went out on a Wednesday to a different golf course, and the first 3 holes were atrocious. I was ready to throw a club, stop playing golf for the rest of my life. Then about holes 8 through, 15 or 16, I had 6 pars in 2 bogeys in an 8-hole stretch.
Now
and then 16 and 17 I doubled, and then 18 I finished with a par. So I still didn't shoot great because of the first 3 and the second to last 2. But I did have a stretch of 6 where I played maybe the best golf I've played since high school. 6 pars in 8 holes, and I think I finished with 9 pars. No birdies. Lots of birdie putts.
But if you want to get better, just make a bunch of pars. The pros don't make a bunch of birdies. They just don't make bogey. And we call your game trending. I don't even want to know what you shot. It's trending.
It was trending. I was hitting it off the tee. Now I was only hitting a 4-iron hybrid off the tee, getting it straight down the middle, hitting that nice second shot. Whew, golf is so much more enjoyable when you have a chance to actually score. Oh,
I think you figured it out. The smallest step that so many people don't get to is put your driver in the garage and don't hit it. If you want to score better, if you want to get better overall, go to the driving range and hit a million drivers. But if you're on the golf course and you lose that driver, you're going to make double bogey from the tee. you got no chance. You're putting for bogey from 25 feet because you hit it over to the right on the other fairway, had to hit it over the trees, then you hit it in the sand, and then you chip it up to 25 feet, and now you got no chance. You can just keep the ball in the fairway, play the right tees. Now all of a sudden you're making 9 pars, and you can't wait to play again. Golf becomes a lot better. And then you go to the range, and you start working in the longer clubs. 4 irons your peak right now. I think there's some coaches that disagree with that, but if you want to have more fun, you need the ball to be in play. And congratulations. That's the first step. It's like the first stages of addiction. That was the first step. Acknowledgement.
Well, so I can't hit my driver, so I'm like, there's no point. Now, there is, so we give ourselves one mulligan, and I did not use this mulligan on any of that stretch. We give ourselves one mulligan per 9, so one on each side.
This is getting more fishy.
I did not use it during that stretch of good golf.
Yeah,
but what I did do was I was hitting the ball so well that on the 18th, I was like, all right, let me pull out my driver and just see if I can hit it.
Classic.
On the first, no, did not work. So put it back in the bag, used my mulligan, got the 4-iron, right straight, 150 yards off the green, nice chip in, 2-putt for par.
I love it. I love it. Isn't that's so human of you to play 9 awesome holes and then be like, but I got this driver.
Have you ever seen people that are not watching this on YouTube will not be able to see what I'm doing? But do you follow golf Instagram at all?
Of course. I love it.
Because it's hilarious. So there's like this group of like 3 or 4 guys that are, it's like, you know how they try to tell you like you shouldn't hit that shot, but they're kind of daring you to hit that shot? Like,
yes,
you shouldn't go for that. Like 230, you should not try to just go for it, lay up. And so it's like this video of them doing all of these, and they're like, yeah, you should totally lay up. And then their eyes roll to the lower right-hand side.
Pointer Brothers. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. They went with, I think I know the exact video you're talking about. I'm like all dialed in. I've got all the golf guys. The Pointer Brothers were with St. Andre Golf, and they are classic. So if you need a follow for Instagram, St. Andre Golf, they make music videos about golf, and they're hilarious. That's a follow I recommend. I know exactly what video you're talking about.
Yeah.
Definitely shouldn't hit this over that water.
And then it's just,
Yeah.
Dustin, I also noticed that you've decided to shave your face. I did that a few weeks ago for the first time in a while, but I feel like you haven't shaved, at least I haven't noticed it in a while either. And clearly I'm not good at noticing things, since I did mention that you weren't on the show 2 weeks ago.
I bet I'm going to be on like a most wanted list somewhere just outside of Atlanta. So in this 2 weeks, people that, again, don't watch, I shave my head like with a razor as the dog plays with his new toys in the background. So you're getting a little squeaky action. I shave my head with no guard, right? It's just all the way without like an actual razor. So I let it go for 2 weeks. So it's getting a little long. And I usually don't like my beard to grow too long because then it looks really patchy. If it's shorter, then you can't tell as much. But this was 2 full weeks, and it looked terrible. So I pulled out my razor so I could shave my head, and then I was going to like go down to a 2 or a 3 for my face. I did not bring my guard. And it looked so bad that I was just like, I got to just shave it all off.
It looks good.
Now, I did not want to incur a fine from the hotel, so I took the hotel bathroom trash can and put it up on the sink and shaved into there. And so, you know, like those movies where they go into like a room where they look like one person and they shave everything that they have, change their appearance, and then they come out looking like a completely different person. So it looks like they're trying to get away with some sort of crime. That's how I felt.
Yeah, and not only that, you're wearing orange, so that's kind of like prison cell orange, if you will.
Well, and I came in wearing like a rat because I had just driven 7 or 8 hours. I came in wearing a ratty hoodie and like some sweatpants, and then I went to go get a nice dinner. So I put on like a quarter zip and jeans and nice shoes, just a completely different person.
I do want to give you some props. That's the go-to move in a hotel. That little trash can. That's, as a guy that spends a lot of time in hotels, that's the move every time. I wait to get to the hotel to shave because that's the move.
Which you're in a hotel right now. Where does your traveling take you at this moment?
Yeah, I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
They're talking about the snow that's outside in terms of feet rather than inches, which is not good. And it's been snowing all day. There is, I wouldn't say 100% chance, but probably a greater than 50% chance I'm going to go outside and my car is going to be snowed in and it's like 5 degrees. So I didn't prepare for that. So that'll be interesting. I'll send a picture, post it on Twitter if it's bad, because I'll probably be walking home.
I blame John for this.
Because I willed it into existence?
Yes. You said you like the cold, you like the snow for Christmas.
I do. And we finally got our first, I don't even know if I'd really call it a measurable amount of snow, but we probably got 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So I guess that's technically measurable. It doesn't cover the entirety of like the grass. So you can still see the tips of the blades and stuff like that. But I'm satisfied. And plus, it's going to be cold enough all week long to where it sticks around and doesn't just melt into a bunch of slush. So here's the thing. Like, I understand that you don't like it, Dustin, and the weather can feel miserable. But
I don't think
you
Mitchell
can't
likes it
deny.
either, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
Maybe both of you hate it, and that's fine too. But I feel like it adds something that you don't get in the rest of the seasons, because if it's a sunny day out and you have snow on the ground, it brings a brightness to the day that you don't really experience at any other time of the year. And maybe the temperature makes it harder for people to appreciate that, and that's fine. But I enjoy it, and it's just something that, tickles my fancy, if you will. Do people still say that? I feel like I just said something that people
you're
from the
150
1960s say.
years old, but I appreciate that. You know what I just thought of when you said a sunny day with snow? Typically, the sun comes out around the middle of the day and your front windshield has had time to get all nasty. You know what I'm saying? When you can't, there's no more fluid. The fluid's frozen. It just gets nasty. And then the sun reflects off of the snow, and you're talking about brings a brightness to the day. I would argue it's more of a blindness.
Yes.
You're driven in that. That's what I'm probably going to be doing tomorrow. That's what makes me think of that. And you just can't see, and the road's all slippery. It's a great time of year.
And maybe I would change my mind about all of this if I lived in a more
out.
northern part of the country. But again,
Southern.
Do what?
Southern.
Yeah.
Why would I change my mind if it was more? Because if it was more southern part of the country, you don't get this kind of stuff.
No.
What I think you need to do is get to the south where it doesn't happen, and then all that flurries away.
Correct.
Here's what I would never want to live in a place where you don't experience all 4 seasons. Like, I get it. The beach is awesome. And living in the South, if you like being warm 75 to 85% of the year, that's cool.
Time out.
Go ahead.
Because let me just tell you that the South, where Mitchell and I lived, I'm going to guess because I've never lived in Charleston, but I've been there. Charleston and Atlanta, you get 3, sometimes 3.5 seasons. Like, it gets
That's
cold.
Kentucky too, though. Kentucky gets 3.5 seasons. Really, we're lucky if we get more than a few inches of snow for the entire winter.
Yeah, but it's 5 degrees.
Right.
That's only for a few days
at a time.
Yeah, at a time. Because here's what's going to happen next week. Whenever the quote unquote warm weather comes back, which warm is relative to like 40 to 50 degrees around here at this time of year. But when that comes around and you get precipitation, then it's nasty ass rain. And I would much rather it be 10 to 20 degrees the entirety of the wintertime than for it to be 40 degrees and raining, because rain is miserable, especially when it's not a warm rain.
I'm partial because I need the golf courses to get as much moisture as
And
possible.
that's true. You're all both golfers. I haven't swung a real club in, I can't even give you the actual amount of time because I'm that far removed from playing any sort of actual golf.
I'm going to be down your way this summer. That's part of my territory. We're going to play golf.
You teach me how to play?
I'm not going to teach you. I'm not going to teach you. I want to see what you have. That's it. I just want to watch. I'm not going to say a word. I just want to watch you play 9 holes, see what you got.
We'll be at hole number 1, Mitchell. You'll see me swing, and first of all, it might not hit. I might not make contact with the ball. That'll be the first problem. And then
I'm counting on it.
You will just say, you know what? Let's take your clubs and get back in the car.
I am counting on that to happen.
I went to. Have you all ever been to Top Golf?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
So the first time, and I guess only time I've been to Top Golf, I enjoyed it by the way. But the first time that I went about a year ago, yeah, I thought it would be fun. And again, it was fun, but I thought I would be better at it than what I was. But the first few times I took swings, it was bad. It was
What made you think you were going to be better at it if you hadn't swung a golf club in so long?
well, because I've swung putt clubs.
It's
the same thing.
Yeah. You ever see those people fall off? We can transition to something else after this, but some of my favorite videos are those people taking big hacks, typically a nice lady in long heels, and the legs just go and then they fall in the net. That is fall over the front in the net, or like some random dude that's had 75 beers and also stumbles into the net is a great video to watch. Topgolf is an interesting place. Great food, too many alcoholic beverages, dangerous clubs, people walking in while they're swinging.
Yep.
I mean, that is a literal war zone. When you think about it.
I'm sure you've seen videos of people who swing and they'll hit the club onto the concrete floor and then it'll fly off and ricochet into the
100%.
playing field. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know where you went here. Well, you didn't. This isn't the same place, but you went to Fifth Iron recently, right?
5-iron. Yeah. Downtown.
Yeah. Oh, 5-iron. Yeah. So there's a place here in Brownsburg just down the road called Divot. I think we're going to go there this weekend, which it's the same thing. I think it's an indoor, what do you call it, like a virtual golf simulator
Much
type
more
thing.
controlled is what I'll tell you.
It is much more controlled, and it's kind of the same thing as Topgolf, where it's like food and beer, and you don't have to be great to have fun, but it does seem a little bit more or less chaotic.
You're on the third floor. You're on a balcony with no railing, just feeding them endless Coors Lights. Like the server is 12 and couldn't care less how many Coors Lights you get. All he sees is his tip going up. And yeah, you're going to have 100. And then you're walking in when the guy's swinging. You're getting hit in the head with the club. Balls are going everywhere. It's a true war zone. The indoor simulator is much more controlled. Laura and I went and played 2-man scramble. It was awesome. We had a blast. You'll have fun. And it's much safer.
There you go. We're going to transition, I can't speak, into something we haven't done since last year, but it's because we haven't all been together, and that's the town names. And I think one element we need to add to this, not this week because we need to kind of talk about it first, and I thought about it today. We need to have a weekly punishment just for whoever loses. But I think you all both tied in every time we've done this so far?
Yes.
This gets out of control really quickly.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to do the music is what made it out of control last time, and it was kind of weird.
I'm talking punishments.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
So should we have it, again, in-show meeting like we typically do? Should we make it to where I decide what the punishment is, or should the winner decide what the loser does?
No, you.
Mitchell, I think you kind of cut out when you said your answer for something.
Yeah.
I have to make the decision. Dustin, I'm assuming you're on the same page with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, you're by far the most mature, subtle. Like, your punishment's going to be like, do 20 push-ups. Mine or Dustin would be like jump in the freezing lake.
Figure out something I'll think of something for next week. We'll just do a for fun round again, but I've got to find a way to make it interesting enough to where, like, how can I punish you two while we're live on the show and make it interesting for people who listen to it? So we'll dive into that next week. We are on California, and I've got to say, it was weird. I almost abandoned doing this altogether just because it had been 3 weeks since we did it. And I'm the kind of person, whenever we abandon routine, it's hard for me to get back into routine. But we are still going to try it because I said we were going to do 50 episodes of 50 states. But I think I've got some good ones, and I'm really hoping I can fool you. I'm yet to fool you all, and I think I'm going to do it today.
California's got a lot of cities, man.
They do.
A lot of weird name cities, too.
Dog.
Yes, and some of you may be familiar with some of these. We'll find out. So who wants to go first? I think Dustin needs to go first just because he's been absent for 2 weeks.
Let's go.
So, all right, Dustin. Between these two towns, tell me which one is real and as opposed to which one is fake. So the first one I've got, forks of salmon or spoons of trout.
Oh, man.
See, that's what we're talking about, John.
This is a really good one.
That's what we're talking about. We're starting to get into the groove here a little bit. I like this.
All right, read me the towns again.
We've got forks of salmon versus spoons of trout.
feel like there's a lot of salmon in California. Forks of salmon.
Oh, what a guess.
You can't fool. I can't fool you yet. Unbelievable. Forks
I'm
of
gonna be-
salmon, named after the salmon river that it is.
That was context
I
clues.
guess. So
Way to go. Way to go.
There you go.
This has gotten to the point. Did you guys see Kyle Kuzma's tweet about it's with the Detroit Pistons? Like it's gotten to the point where you don't want to be that team that loses to the Pistons that have won 4 games out of 40. That's what I feel like right now. I don't want to be the guy that misses it. This is as much pressure as I've felt in a very long time.
I'm excited.
A lot.
All right, Mitchell.
I might love
your first.
I miss this.
Your first set of town names in California. We have Snake Village or Copperopolis.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna fire from the hip. No, we're not. I have no idea. I went with one and then I totally backtracked it. We're going Copperopolis because that's the dumbest name I've ever heard. Let's go, baby. Come on.
Gosh. And I thought
Every
Snake Village
time-
would be. Oh man.
Every time we get more right, there's a butterfly in my stomach that just continues to grow.
I'm telling you, that was so much pressure. I feel way better.
Copperopolis, named not after gold, but apparently it's a mining town famous for finding copper. So there you go.
I was thinking of
All right,
Copperhead
Dustin.
snakes.
We've got,
Way off.
I was too.
and honestly, this one may just be a shot in the dark because, I mean, there's really no other way to just know.
Los
unless you just
Angeles?
know which one's correct. No. We've got Fort Dick versus Fort Shaft.
That's crazy town. Good luck. For all the kids in the room.
Dang
That's
it.
Hey, it's a town name. What are we gonna do about it? Fort
Well,
Dick
one
or
of them
Fort
is.
Shaft?
Man. This is going to be the one I miss. Dang it.
Do you want to go at the same time?
You're all both
You
gonna
say
get
it,
both
I'll
these
say
right
it.
because you all just perpetually correct.
I'm going to say Fort Dick.
Oh, I was going Shaft. No.
Gosh,
missed it.
should have given it to Mitchell.
I avoided. But now we're back.
Nothing really much else to say other than the fact that it's a fort like Fort Knox or Fort
But
Henry.
different.
It's just Fort Dick, and I
Yeah,
thought putting
it's the
Fort
same,
Shaft in there just be funny. So
but different.
the same but different. All right, Mitchell. I think you may have the hardest one, but again, it's kind of like Fort Dick and Fort Shaft. It's kind of a shot in the dark. We've got Slow and Steady or Rough and Ready, and both one of those is real. And
Slow
it
and Steady,
sounds ridiculous
California.
regard-
They chill, man. That's easy.
Oh!
Incorrect.
Yes.
All right, I'm logging out.
Finally got one wrong. Rough and Ready, California.
I hate that.
First
I-
established in the fall of 1849 by a mining company from Wisconsin known as the Rough and Ready Company during the California Gold Rush.
I was picturing a bunch of high guys on the beach. Slow and steady, man.
I would have guessed Slow and Steady too if it makes you feel better.
God, I was 0 for 2 to finish. What a disaster.
Well, there we go, man. So, unfortunately,
there we
it's not
go,
a
man.
next week I'm going to have a punishment, and I'm going to have to figure out something that will work for the show while we're doing the show. But finally, we have a
stupid
winner.
right
Dustin wins.
Yeah, I feel so dumb. I can't, this is a pointless, no punishment game. I feel like an idiot.
How would you have known, though? How I mean, it's Rough and
I
Ready.
got all
and
the other
Slow
ones I didn't
and
know.
That's true.
It's a good point.
I was batting 1,000. Uh-oh. What happened? Now I'm back.
Oh, you're here.
Yeah.
We never lost you. All right. I did something really stupid at work. Actually, I don't even know if it's really stupid. I made a mistake at work a few days ago, or I guess it was maybe a week ago.
I don't believe it. You've
So
never made
I'm a
mistake in your
frequent,
life, if
I mean,
could
you
guess.
probably wouldn't know from this show because I don't do it on the show, but I chew gum a lot. And I know a lot of people like gum, but like I usually use it if my stomach's hurting. Like, and I have a bunch of weird stomach problems, more than I would like to as a 26-year-old. And chewing gum is something that always has soothed my stomach issues. Dustin, you look perplexed. What do you want to say?
Well, I feel like your stomach would maybe not have so many problems if you would just puke. You have this thing going on where you haven't vomited in 10 years or however long it's been. It's probably
what,
just holding
though?
all that stuff in. Let it out, John.
I don't think there's any. A lot of the times, I don't really feel the need to puke. It's just one of those things. Like if I've had something really greasy, or if I've just not eaten well recently, that kind of thing. Chewing gum just soothes the stomach, and also it's very good for the pipes, for the vocal pipes. And when you're in this business, you got to sound good. Some of you might think I sound like a freaking idiot, but
No. I do have a question. Would you rather have to chew gum because you have stomach problems or because you got that stank breath?
Would you rather?
Stomach problems. I just combined them. I didn't mean to.
I think I'd go stomach problems too.
Is stinky breath, like chronic stinky breath,
I think
the
that's a
worst thing you
thing.
can
I don't
have?
know what it's called.
It is
though.
a thing. Some people smell like they got dead people inside them.
Ugh.
That's real. You can look that up. Is that the worst ailment you can have? Apart from like lesions all over your skin or something, which I don't even know.
Mitchell, look up a medical name for that while I continue this story. So,
All right.
when I was at work,
That's going to be a funny Google search.
I was chewing gum, and sometimes whenever I need a break from the gum, I'll sit it off to the side. I'll sit it on this little piece of paper, or honestly, sometimes I'll sit it right by the board that I work with, the production board. And one day, I just so happened to forget to throw it away after I was done with the show and left the studio. And the following day, someone who was working one of the morning shows noticed that it was still there and talked about the gross thing that I had done. They didn't know that I did it, but they were saying that on their show that my nasty ass had left some gum in the studio. And I'm curious, is it that big of a deal, or am I gross?
Yeah, throw it in the garbage. It's a wild.
And I usually remember, but you know what? Sometimes you just.
And I may have missed this while I was looking up chronic stinky breath, but you don't put it like on the actual dash, right? You got a plate or a napkin or something?
No. It's on like the little paper that it comes in.
Okay. When you said no, I thought you meant no plate or tissue, and we were gonna have a serious talk. We're gonna have to pause this, have a real man talk here, talk about your germs, because you're gonna develop halitosis, which is the name for chronic stinky breath, sulfur-producing bacteria in the tongue and throat.
Huh.
Dry mouth caused by certain foods, smoking, or poor oral hygiene, and a coated tongue. I've probably had.
So do you know someone who has halitosis?
Probably me every like 3 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe. I
What
don't
about
know.
old Frank back there? Does he have halitosis?
I think he does.
I think Biscuit does too.
He's got some.
What is it about dogs? Like, you can give them those little toothbrush things that are supposed to freshen their breath. They don't work. And if they do, it's for like 35 and a half seconds, and then it's back to normal.
I need one of those little toothbrusher things for him. He's really going to hate it. I'm really dreading it. He's going to bite me probably a lot. Have you ever done this to Biscuit?
No. No.
Yeah. They have like these little things that you put over your finger, and it's like a little scrubber. And man, is he going to hate it. Like a lot.
I feel like dogs just wouldn't be on board with humans putting anything other than a treat in their mouth. Or food, I guess.
Pause.
I just want to say that I don't think it's that gross, John.
The gum?
Yeah.
You're gross.
Okay, enlighten me, because I don't want to say publicly shamed, because unless these people who work with me listen to this podcast, they don't know it was me. They were just like, who left this freaking gum in the studio last night? Which gross MFer didn't throw away their gum?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not a germaphobe. So it doesn't bother me. Like, to me, I would just pick it up, throw it in the trash, or grab a tissue and then use some, what's that stuff called? Hand sanitizer. And then we go on about our business. We go on about our day. No big deal.
I think the only thing we need to know about this story is when they asked who did it, you looked around and looked for somebody else to say they did it.
No, actually, I was approached by two people, and it wasn't the people.
Now we're starting to learn. Now you have a reputation.
One of them was my boss, and he's like, he's very cool. He wasn't very. I was just like, hey, it was definitely me. And I heard they were talking about it, and it's totally. I was like, just don't tell him it was me, because they reported to him like, who's leaving freaking gum in this production studio? And then one of our other producers, he was like, I heard they were talking about someone leaving gum in there the other day. I was like, yeah, it was me. I guess it's why you're approaching me about it, because you think it was me. So apparently there must be a natural aura about me. I take care of myself. I'm a clean human being. And someone say I take too many showers and or baths. And yes, I am a man, and I enjoy taking a bath every once in a while.
100%. That is an A+ take.
I'm not being full enough. I take baths regularly, and you can shame me if you want. I don't care. I enjoy them. It is the perfect way to wind down after a more than stressful day.
That kind of goes back to our psychology talk that we just talked a couple weeks ago, where you started with, I take them occasionally. As soon as I jumped on board, you're like, oh yeah, dude, I take them every day.
We're
We're
all insecure in our we often go down paths on the show and probably in our everyday lives where we as men are insecure with things that we do.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one person to be on board with what you're saying. And it's like, oh crap, man, we're the same.
This makes so much sense as to also why you love hot tubs now.
Exactly. Oh, that's true.
If John is not at work or on a trip, he can be found in the bathtub or the hot tub.
This is an important distinction. There's no bubbles in there, right?
What do you mean? In the bathtub?
You know what I mean. Yeah.
Usually no. And that's not I'm being straight up.
Are you a bath? No. Have you ever done a bath bomb?
Yes.
Same.
Not regularly. So my wife got me some bath bombs. Too. And I don't ask for them. I would never buy them. You would never see me in a store or even online just casually shopping for bath bombs. If someone gives them to me, I'm going to use them. But I'm not going to go out of my way to get them.
They're really expensive is the problem, but they are awesome.
So you said you shower or take a bath frequently. How frequent are we talking? Like
I do one or the other, usually twice a day. But here's the thing. One of them, let me be clear, because I see the expression on your face. One of them is usually for actual cleanliness. The other one is to wind down.
Which one?
So a morning and a night.
Which one is the wind down? Do you sit in the stinky, in the sweat, in the nasty at night?
Well, I don't sweat for a living in my job.
Well, you might chewing all that.
I don't do a lot of sweating. If I were sweating, then I'm going to opt for the shower and I'm going to clean especially if I've just cut the grass or something.
Well, I was just thinking with all the gum laying around in your studio, you may want to get the nose off.
Just gum lined up on John's bathtub.
Who keeps doing this? Well, I think I've told this story before. Yeah, I think I did talk about it whenever I was in RA. There was a resident on my floor, and when we had to do, if you're familiar with anything that an RA does, you have to do monthly checks in people's rooms. And there was a student that he wouldn't use the bathroom. And instead of when I say he wouldn't use the bathroom, he wouldn't get up and go to the community bathroom. Instead of getting up, he would pee in bottles and then line them up like on his shelf or on his just someplace in his room. And again, I would never say this person's name, but like
you should. He needs to be outed.
No,
this man is criminal.
This person knew after we did his check that there was an issue.
Yeah, I would say a 10 out of 10 issue.
How did he? First of all, he didn't know there was an issue beforehand.
I mean, that's
people will be people, man.
And number two, you remember that place where everybody lives in the same apartment forever?
Oh yeah, in Alaska.
That's where that guy should go. That is where he should be quarantined. It's just away from the rest
outside.
Of humanity.
Yeah, he needs to be outside in the fence.
I tell you what, if you're college, you see some weird and nasty things. I mean, everyone knows that college kids are just kind of stinky in general, but like there's a whole new level of filth that you get to learn to understand if you are a resident assistant.
Did you have an RA, Dustin? I didn't.
I did have an RA, yeah.
If I did, I never saw him or her. Were they in your room all the time?
No, they never checked, and I could have been written up several times for a lot of things that were just out in the open.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to divulge your secrets, but
no. Okay, but this is the thing. So this is 35-year-old me, because I feel like 25-year-old me would have just roasted you for taking a lot of baths and showers. How does your skin just not get so freaking dry?
That's what I'm doing right now, man.
It does get dry.
Ugh.
But you just don't care, so you just keep like.
What does your lotion do?
I don't have like wrinkly, crusty skin, and maybe I will in 20 years.
Less if you don't put some lotion on that.
Yeah. Correct.
Maybe I think I'm probably going to learn the hard way on that. We may be doing this podcast 20 years down the road. God, if we're doing this podcast in 20 years, then we must have been doing something right. But
we went two different ways there.
I may be the wrinkliest of all three of us if we, began this experiment today and then look back 20 years from now.
Well, it would fit the personality, as you seem to be older than both of us already.
Do you
I gotta say
also-
something else. I have an irrational fear. I feel like
You
I
think
don't mean to jump
podcasting's
from
going to be
one
around
thing.
in 20 years?
No,
I was just saying.
I'm gonna be
if it
long gone.
was,
I don't like you guys near enough for that.
yeah. If it probably won't, but you never know.
It might.
Like Mitchell and I said last week, though, like this will at least, however long this lasts, it will at least be a documentation of what we were up to during this point in our lives. So
Could you
100%.
imagine if like historians at some point stumble upon this stupid podcast like 1,000 years from now and they're like, this is what they used to do. They just find us. We could be in a history book.
Tough representation,
oh yeah.
but
That
would be
oh yeah,
pretty
where I
cool.
was going. So you were it's about wrinkly skin and looking older than I actually am. I have an irrational fear, and I actually, if you listen long enough, you probably learned that I have a lot of irrational fears, more than I even think I realized until I've spoken them into existence. But I have a fear. Before I even say it, I feel like I'm even just over exaggerating it. I have a fear that I'm going to die way earlier than I should, and I don't know why. I'm afraid I'm not going to live a long, full life, and I don't have a reason for it. And I think sometimes I connect it with, oh, well, I'm older. People say I'm older than I actually am. Maybe I'm going to age into a point to where I just cease to exist. Again, that makes zero sense, but it's a way of rationalizing why I act differently, not even differently, but like think differently than maybe most people my age.
I feel like we got to put a stop to this, Dustin. I think we are the ones
Please
that have
educate
made
me
you.
right now.
I
Please
think we're
take
the
me
ones
back
that have made you
to
feel
reality.
like you're an old man.
I
need to apologize. That was not what I was trying to do.
I'm not going to apologize, and the reason is because people say I act older than I am all the time, and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, acting and being is a lot different.
Correct.
Have
I'm
you guys
still-
written your wills yet? Like I know some people. Actually, I don't know, but I've
What am I
heard.
going to give away? Franklin?
Could you imagine if I came on here and told you that I don't think Dustin meant to just pop out of there, but I think he'll be
No.
back.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if I got on here and told you all that I had just written my will? I have not, and I don't have any plans to do that. But that just feels like to me that you've given up. If you're between the ages of 25 and 40 years old, and Dustin's back with us. If you're between the ages of 25 and 40 years old and you've bothered to write your will, I think you've probably just given up.
I bet the number's higher than you think.
Okay, can you
There's a
tell?
lot of preparers, doomsday preppers. And I feel like you start getting into that around 25, 30, maybe even a little later. But I think, the number's not 0. I don't think it's 50%, but I bet the number's not even 5. I bet it's closer to 10.
What are we talking about?
So I was mentioning writing wills. I said to Mitchell, I said, what would it be like if I just came in here and said, like if I had told you all that I just written my will? And that just went on to say, like, if anyone our age or around our age is doing that, then you've probably given up. And that's probably not the case. And in fact, I've read things that say that you should do it the earlier the better, I guess, because you never know what's going to happen. If you get in a car accident or just something tragic, then it's good to have. But I feel like doing that is, and I know giving up was kind of just more of a joke, but doing that, it feels like it's ominous. It feels like you shouldn't be doing something like that unless you've already had grandkids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that until this moment. So I think that answers the question. He's looking it up. What's the number?
Estate planning statistics to read before writing your will. It's best practice to begin planning your estate in your 30s and no later than your 40s.
See, you're on the clock, Dustin.
You just talked about giving up, and you said you're on the clock.
You're on
this show. John has ruined my life because he told me I had bad hair. Forgot to mention that I wasn't part of the podcast.
That was one of the funniest books we've ever had, dude.
You're right.
When you ruined his life with the hair.
And now you're saying I need to get started on my will. I think I want to put stuff in there that is just random.
I think that's the topic bullet point for this section of the show is at Shooty Dustin needs to start writing his will with no context other than
get the
that.
hashtag going, Shooty Dustin, or like Dustin write your will.
Yeah, this would be, I think the only thing I could put in a will is please pay off my car for me. That's it.
See, that's what.
This
But see,
car
that's something I'd
gets
want to
me
do.
off.
Like, I would gift like a vehicle to a friend. Oh yeah, this comes with a $600 payment, by the way.
Good luck. I'm cheering for you.
Yeah.
Gosh, a
It's
$600
horrible
car
gas
payment.
mileage.
I want a collection of something that's just ridiculous that I can just pawn off on. Like, people collect stamps, and I don't really know why. If you're a stamp collector, enlighten me. I'm not knocking it. I just don't get it. But could you imagine if you had like 147 boxes just of stamps, and then you just willed that to somebody else?
I mean, that's one of the funniest things you can do, I think.
Just
Like,
1 million. This is 1 million stamps that you now have
Yeah.
to sort through.
even if this is only 10 cents a stamp, I have gifted you so much money, $100,000, but you have to sort them.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You got to find the winners.
While I'm thinking about it, I know I've mentioned, I wish I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but again, I get a lot more sidetracked than I would like to.
Yeah, you start talking about
We're on TikTok now. Nothing's on there yet, but you can follow us on TikTok. I'm going to start learning how to use that, hopefully effectively enough, just to find a new way to grow the show. But you can follow us on TikTok on the @ name is Out of Touch Media, I think. Or if not, if that's wrong, the actual profile is Out of Touch Podcast. One of the names is Out of Touch Podcast, and the other one is Out of Touch Media. And I couldn't do both of them because one of them was taking for the other, and now I can't change the name for like 7 days or 30 days or something like that. But that's how you can find us on TikTok. We're going to try to post clips there, direct people who have not seen the show to us. And if you're new to the show, even without that, subscribe to us on YouTube. Help us get to, I say 100, but honestly, 100 doesn't actually do anything for us. It was just a goal that we were trying to get to.
Yes, it does.
Live stream.
That's
Make our own plaque.
That'll be the first thing. I'll put it behind me. We hit 100 subscribers.
You got to start somewhere. You can't start at 100,000.
Have you guys ever heard of the band LFO? Now, I asked this because this would have been this is definitely before John's time. Mike
LMFAO?
No, just LFO.
I've heard of them, but I don't know anything about them.
Okay, so when I was driving around the southern part of the country, I put on Pandora a lot, and sometimes I go down the 90s road. So LFO was like a boy band type of, like, not popular like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, kind of like, was it Sugar Ray or 98 Degrees maybe? 98 Degrees is a good comparison. One of the songs came on called Summer Girls. And I remember this song when I was in like elementary or junior high being very popular. And everybody in my generation should have to spend one night in jail for this song ever being popular. The lyrics make zero sense. Like, okay, so I'm just going to read some of these lyrics. This bothered me the entire
This has been
trip.
boiling on your mind.
It is. So this is like, the chorus is, I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch.
It's the best song ever, dude. Come on.
The lyrics make no sense. Look, hip hop marmalade, spick and span. Met you one summer and it all began. You're the best girl that I ever did see. The great Larry Bird jersey 33.
Yes, that song is a banger.
That is not a banger. Now here's
everyone in jail should get a day off of their sentence because if they listen to that song, they were hip. That song rocks, dude.
Okay, but that isn't even the part that bothers me. This is the verse that really got to me, right? So you come from Georgia where the peaches grow. They drink lemonade and speak real slow. That's offensive. You love hip hop and rock and roll. Dad took off when you were 4 years old. Nothing like bringing up a little childhood trauma. There was a good man named Paul Revere. I feel much better, baby, when you're near. I don't understand why we had to get the Revolutionary War involved. Paul Revere has nothing to do with any of this. The best lyric they ever wrote was "You love fun dipping cherry Coke," because then that takes me back to like being a kid.
I think the problem is you listen to the words.
That it's 100%.
The melody of that song is, I mean, it's the catchiest song ever. If that was on TikTok today, that would be on every TikTok video ever.
But this,
rocks.
Very rarely do I listen to the words, and I listen to the words, and I was just, none of this makes sense at all. They just found things. He rhymed hornet with, instead of saying Billy Shakespeare wrote a whole bunch of sornets. Not sonnets, sornets.
There's a little slang. That's like mansion in Wisconsin. It's the
I
same.
love that. Probably the best T-Pain rhyme of all time.
Yeah, I mean, you just
Put
got
you in a mansion
Fair.
somewhere in Wisconsin.
All right. Macaulay
T-Pain used to
Culkin wasn't home alone, fell deep in love, but now we ain't speaking. Michael J. Fox was Alex P. Keaton. I don't understand what any of this means.
So what's the name of the song?
It's called
Summer
Summer
Girls.
Girls by LFO.
I'm gonna save that to my playlist right now. We're listening to it first thing in the morning. Laura's got no idea what's coming. I'm playing
Gonna
it
be
on
the alarm.
full blast in the speaker. Yeah.
I gotta say, like, that reminds me of I guess it's a guilty pleasure artist. I don't really listen to this person regularly, but they sing / rap about like the exact same thing anytime a song is, I guess, every time you listen to one of their songs. And that's Pitbull. He's always rapping about Miami or being Mr. Worldwide or how much
Mr.
money he's
Worldwide.
got now, like his come up or whatever. And that's fine. But I feel like that's every song. And I pulled up lyrics from one of his. I think reading lyrics is one of the funniest things you can do, by the way. I love Dustin reading some of those lyrics. So here's a bit of a verse from Pitbull's song Hey Baby. Make money, this Chico right here gotta eat, baby. Scared money don't make money, that's how it goes in the street, baby. But enough about the nonsense. Baby girl, take a shot, clear your conscience. Not a goon or a goblin, I'm a monster, because I hit all the baddest women in the world, gangsta.
That is a hit. Certified hit.
It is
I mean,
a hit.
what are,
and
like-
honestly, but here's the thing: T-Pain makes that song. Without the T-Pain chorus, that song is nothing.
Do you know, we've always talked about songs, Justin Bieber, LFO, Pitbull. I don't know that Mitchell has disliked a single song. What is your least favorite song of all time?
Ooh, least favorite song. You'd have to give me some time on that. I
I know he
a
hates
lot of
rock
things.
music. Anytime I try
Okay,
talking
we can
about
come
rock,
back.
he's like, nah,
I
I listened
don't
to
really
Lil
listen
Wayne
to
in
it.
middle school.
Yeah, I was a rap kid. I was.
I think, honestly,
played
I
football,
was a rap
and that's what
kid
everybody
too, but
did.
I turned into, I just grew out of it, I guess, I feel like.
So did I. I don't listen to that near as much anymore. You'd have to give me some time. Least favorite song ever?
Yeah,
Do you have a least favorite artist? Like just somebody you can't stand?
that's a good one.
Ooh. I need some
I
time.
have,
like,
I've got a couple.
I have a,
Okay, go ahead.
But I got to think about them. This is on the spot. I'm not like a music guy. I put on music that is cheery,
Yeah.
and I can sing all the words because it's not super deep. I want to learn the words in 3 listens and then sing it at the top of my lungs.
So you,
Can I give you my hot take about music here? This is we might go from however many subscribers we have to 0 if I say this out loud.
Well, here we go.
I am not an Adele fan.
I can be
I
convinced.
just resubscribed.
Well, here's the
even
thing.
though I can't do
Everybody,
that.
this is not about her voice at all. I think she's got a great voice. She's a really good singer, but her songs are just like, I can't, it's like, to me, I want to listen to something upbeat
Yes.
and her songs just don't do that. So like for the longest time, I was like, but I think she's singing about life, and that's probably why she's so popular or has been popular. And again, it's not a knock on her as like a performer. She's got an incredible voice. It's just like her music I cannot get into it.
It's just a preference because, and I'm the same way. Like I cannot stand when, and I think it may just be, it's just a preference thing. When my wife puts on sad music, like it may be something that she enjoys listening, and it's her way of getting, I guess, maybe dealing with something that may be going on, or just a cathartic way to get something out of your system. I mean, I do that for different reasons, but for sure, for her, she really likes sad songs. Maybe not all the time, but there'll be times whenever we're in the car together and she's playing. I'm like, we can't do the sad music today. We've got to keep upbeat, positive vibes. I don't care if it's Taylor Swift. You can play your Taylor Swift if you're in Taylor Swift mood, but I can't be hearing about, I don't know, All Too Well 10-minute version, that kind of thing. Like that stuff is just depressing.
Well, we're going to go back to Adele for a second because I know you guys have done it as well. There's been a car full of dudes, 5 probably, packed in to a car that's not big enough for them. In the driver or passenger, put on Someone Like You, and you all sang it at the top of your lungs.
No, Someone Like You,
yes, we
that's
did.
not a good song. For
Not-
me.
You all did it. You did it. You don't have to admit it. We all did.
I'd do it for Rolling in the Deep. I'll scream at the top of my lungs for Rolling in the Deep. And by the way, have you ever heard the Plankton AI version of that song? It is one of the funniest things you could listen to.
What a funny guy to use for that song.
Rolling in the Deep is good. I'll give you that. That's a good song. We did that with Hips Don't Lie by Shakira, I believe.
Banger as well.
So I've done that, just not to that Adele song.
All right. Well, I'm by myself. So that was the opposite of that psychology. I went full steam ahead, jumped in the deep end, got absolutely annihilated. And now I'm going back to the shallow side. I'm going back where I don't have to swim.
You just get your floaties on next time.
Yeah.
You all should talk golf for like the next 2 minutes while I pull up one specific part in the Plankton AI Rolling in the Deep that you need to hear.
That is so much pressure.
It is a lot of this.
Well, actually, have you thought about who your least favorite artists are yet, or songs?
Well, now we're back on the pressure. This is so much pressure.
There's pressure for me. I'm on the clock.
Well,
Dustin's on the clock too. He's got to figure out if he's going to be writing his will in the next 4 years or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's absolutely going to happen. And
because you have to.
I did have something I was going to say. Oh, now I know. I also listen to a lot of country music. If love was not a thing, there would be no country music.
Love, tractors, dogs, beers.
I like country music, but dear God,
they're all the same.
9 out of every 10 songs is about Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah. Last night, We Let the Liquor Talk is one of the funniest songs ever.
That's Morgan Wallen, right? Mr. Krabs does a wonderful AI impersonation of that too. I'm not gonna play that one, but I've got the Plankton.
This is it right here. Who is the country dude? He sings about corn and beer.
Oh, like corn
Luke
makes
Bryan.
whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah, Luke Bryan. Yeah,
he's the worst. He's the bottom of my list. Rain makes corn. I know all the songs. I know every word.
Whiskey makes my baby.
Oh my God! Don't watch the YouTube of that. Whatever that face he just
please
made.
do. No, that's what this is for, though. That's what this is for.
Isn't that...
All right, hold on. Here's Plankton singing "Rolling in the Deep."
Oh my God! It blew out somebody's speakers. This is what you're listening to in the car? Oh my gosh.
I just had to throw that in there.
That's fair. That's going to shock some people.
Oh, yeah. And the Mr. Krabs, Morgan Wallen last night's actually pretty. It's not like that. It's more just like weird. But
have you ever heard the song by Morgan Wallen, Sand in My Boots?
Yeah.
Song's a banger.
Is that the kind of depressing one?
Yes.
Yeah, he
like
went to
Old Town. I've heard people call it Old Town Colorado. I don't know why people. I guess that's what he says a lot in that song.
No, he's talking about East Tennessee. No.
Oh, okay.
Morgan Wallen's from Tennessee, and he sings about that a lot. I don't know if he's ever said Colorado.
I don't know why I thought he had a song called Old Town Colorado, but I don't know.
He might have a song called Old Town Colorado, but he talks about East Tennessee, bringing back the spring break girl. She'd really love it there. Stars are beautiful or whatever.
So do you guys enjoy Morgan Wallen? I'm somebody who hasn't, and we'll wrap this thing up shortly, but I'm just curious because I'm not against Morgan Wallen. I just I can't get into it.
I love the vibe. The poppy country is exactly, I'm looking for, like, I don't have time to be listening to sad stuff. There's all kinds of sad stuff going on in the world all around all the time. If I'm going to listen to music, I want it to make me feel happy and ready to attack the day. And Morgan Wallen hits on that almost every time except for Sand in My Boots. And that song just is a certified banger. So you can't say no to that. But yeah, I'm looking for something that makes me smile, dude. We listen to Andy Grammer all the time. You ever listen to him?
Oh, yeah. Gotta keep your head up. I know that
very
song.
Underappreciated. His radio, if you go on Spotify and go to Andy Grammer Radio and just let it play. If you can't smile, even on a cloudy day, listening to that, that's a little recommendation for you listeners.
Dustin, I got Mitchell on a new song last week that you probably enjoyed too. You need to listen to Last Night by Jameson Flood. If you listen to last week's podcast, you actually may have heard it, but that's what we came into and out of. Just because I was feeling a different vibe last week. And honestly, I may start doing that because we didn't get copyrighted. And if I can find low-key songs that aren't going to get copyrighted on this YouTube channel, then I'm going to play them. Hopefully freaking Plankton AI. Imagine if we got copyrighted from Adele for playing Plankton AI.
Before you start playing copyrighted stuff, can we decide who owns this? So who gets
We don't have to. Mitchell and I don't have to pay anything.
I'm feeling no liability here.
We don't. So whenever we get copyrighted, we don't get like sued. The video can't be monetized.
Well, if you play enough of them, that's like going to LimeWire. Like it's a slap on the wrist for one song, but then you've been playing for 10 years. Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to be playing like popular songs because that's just asking to get. And the only reason I play Plankton AI is because it's Plankton and not
You have to
Adele.
leave. If we're going to do it, you're leaving with Summer Girls by LFO.
No, we're not doing it today. We're doing the
We'll
regular
open with
thing
it tomorrow.
But don't make me play you out, Mitchell.
Have it happened before? I'll do it again.
It'll happen again.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us this week. Thanks for listening again, as always. The band is back. I apparently failed to acknowledge that we were missing a member of the band. He secretly got kicked out and doesn't know it, but he was under punishment. But I guess it's out in the open now. Sorry, Dustin. But thanks for listening. Subscribe on YouTube. Find us on TikTok, Out of Touch Media, aka Out of Touch Podcast. And we'll talk to you next week. Mitchell's pretty hyped up, it seems. Dustin, glad to have you back. And we will talk to you next time.